Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world. Welcome to Web3 Warriors, episode 99, featuring Crux and Stonez the Organic, co-founders of Forbidden Fruit and two amazingly talented artists with works of art, both music and artwork, traditional art on the blockchain, and amazing, really just been in the space since 2021 when I started. Crux and Stonez, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining.
Feeling great. Happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I know you said you're all smoothied up.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Stonez?
Good, feeling good. Thank you for having us. Yeah, smoothied up, ready to get to it.
Ready to talk some Web3. Awesome. Well, like I mentioned, thank you for joining. And we did connect at NFT NYC most recently, which was really cool to be able to connect in person. But I've been following both of you since 2021 and really just impressed by all the art. I love the way you kind of mash up the music with the artwork and the live experiences and hosting spaces. So it was really cool to see you perform Crux live with Creatress. Blending the VR with the music and the performance art was really, really something to behold. So I'm grateful to be able to have this time to really hear a little bit more about your stories and what you're working on, and talk about Web3 and NFTs and all that fun stuff. So again, thank you everyone for joining the Web3 Warriors podcast. My name is David Chroma. I go by Chrome in the metaverse. And today we're going to be looking at the topic of music on the blockchain, but also creating immersive experiences, because a lot of what the technology provides, a lot of what Web3 brings in the metaverse, on the blockchain, is the ability to actually create more immersive experiences with a community and to give added value to your community, to those who support what you're doing, and basically lean on the technology in ways that are really exciting and that are kind of out of the box and that we're really not available prior to NFTs and Web3. There was always the digital space. There was always, people meeting up in video games and things like that. But now being able to actually sell your works of art on the blockchain, being able to actually meet up in these digital worlds where you're trading art and giving out all kinds of value is really just a new and exciting thing to take part in. So what we've seen in the space, especially in the music space, is a lot of music NFT marketplaces kind of popping up, whether it was Audius or Sound.xyz and a lot of others, where you can actually listen to music and also purchase the NFTs if you want to support that musician, so that's a really cool kind of use case that we're seeing becoming more and more popular. As many people are saying in the space, I think a kind of cultural shift is going to be required before, it becomes a more commonplace thing, and maybe some of the quote unquote A-list celebrities and people out there really start incorporating NFTs in a way that makes it something cool that people want to have, right? Maybe you get VIP perks at a concert, maybe you get special access on their website and all these kind of things. Token gated experiences basically in the music world is an exciting thing that we're hoping to see more of in the future, but it's going to be interesting to see how the culture kind of shifts and catches up with the technology. So I'm hoping to hear a little bit about what Crux and Stonez think about this. But also, when I look at the music NFTs that I've collected so far, I think that the coolest part about them is that they actually end up serving as a kind of timestamp, right? A reminder of kind of that time and place when you were there and you experienced this musician and you bought their art and you supported them, right? And most recently, I actually bought a Ghostface Killah Ordinal NFT, which was really cool. So it was an actual track that he released only on the Bitcoin blockchain, and it's not released anywhere else. It was the first Ordinal I actually bought. I'm late to the game when it comes to Ordinals. This is just in the last couple of weeks, but it's an interesting use case where you have someone like Ghostface Killah, maybe not, super at the height of his popularity now, but still a member of Wu-Tang Clan, a legend in his own right, releasing this kind of exclusive track on the Bitcoin blockchain. So just one kind of cool use case. And he's talking about, allowing people to sample it, who collect the NFT, and also having additional perks into the future. So that's just one example, but really, really cool space to look at and to really be a part of as it's kind of just getting started. Because I think the idea of using NFTs for music and also for dance, which I want to hear Crux's thoughts on, because I think that's another piece that I haven't really seen much of outside of what Crux is doing, really, when it comes to using dance and incorporating, visual performance art on the blockchain. I think is a really cool concept as well. So with all that, I digress. I want to turn it over to Crux and Stonez. Maybe before we dive into Forbidden Fruit and everything you're working on right now, I'd love to get a little bit of background on your stories. Maybe we'll start with you, Crux, like a little bit of background on yourself as a creator, and then what brought you into Web3 and NFTs. And thanks again for joining.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love this energy and the topic that we're going to be touching on today, or the topics rather. A little bit about myself. My name is Crux. I also go by thei. Um, Crux is my artist name that came about in 2018. I don't tell this story often, but I was going to compete in a variety show, a variety competition here in Philadelphia, and we had to have like stage names for ourselves. And I was trying to figure it out for the longest. And then I settled on Crooks because it means like basically the centermost point of something. And to me, that's where I pull all of my creativity from. That's where I create from, where I move from in general in life is the centermost point of my being. So that's the background on my name. And I've been dancing since I was 8. So long time now. And I went to Temple University for dance. I got my BFA in dance in 2020. And I've ever since now I'm choreographing, performing, teaching, and I offer all of those services virtually and physically. And it's been really cool. I've gotten to do some cool things. I've gotten to perform with some amazing artists. And now I'm in a place where I'm kind of bridging the gap between my love for dance and my love for music. So I do make music as well. I'm not as I guess, into the music side of myself as I am the dance side yet, but just been
I know
exploring
that, that performance at NFT NYC was pretty lit, though. You got bars. Maybe you're just getting started, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've just been giving myself that permission to explore all my creative interests and just the urges that I have to follow certain creative paths. So
Nice, nice. And looking at the Web3 piece and the NFTs, what kind of brought you into the blockchain conversation, and how are you kind of navigating that?
yeah, well, Stonez actually got me into the Web3 and blockchain scene.
Nice.
He showed me some really cool dancers that were minting on the blockchain, and that definitely inspired me to be like, oh wow, like you can have more autonomy over your craft with with this tool, with this new industry, with this new corner of the internet. So that's what got me into it. And I guess
Awesome.
that's the perfect segue to hear about Stonez.
For sure. Let's hear about your background, Stones, as a creator.
She was calling me crazy, y'all, when I was on Clubhouse, and but nah, it made sense. It clicked. But yeah, I'm Stones, artist based in Philadelphia. Been creating for as long as I can remember, both music and visual art. I did not have an art background. I did not go to school for art, but it's just something that I've always been drawn to. I've been like drawing since like seriously since like 6th grade. Then I kind of fell off. I have been making music since around the same time. In college, I was in a group. This is a piece of lore called Boarding Club. We were like dropping pretty consistently, like putting out music videos and all that stuff. But then I started teaching full time after I got out of college, and was just doing that and being consistent and just like educating and in different grades and different programs and stuff like that. And I actually lost my job due to the pandemic. And then I found blockchain. I saw a lot of my homies that were taking client commissions beforehand, stop taking client commissions and start minting for this weird symbol on Zora. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is going on here? Like, what are you guys doing? And shout out to Andre O'Shea, who was a big influence in both my music career and artist career coming into Web3, because he was the first artist that I saw mint. And then I saw pieces from Ja and Latasha. And then I was like, wait, hold up. Like, what's going on over here? And had a conversation with Andre, and he was just like, let's get you on Clubhouse. I think you'll really love the community, the people, the thinking, like how it's tech forward, how we're bringing everything together. Hopped on Clubhouse, and then I was hooked. And that's where it was coming in, where I'm on Clubhouse all the time. And the family's like, who are you talking to? Like, why are you having such a good time? Like, who are these people? And Crux was one of the main folks, like, hey, like, we got to do stuff like in real life now. You get on Clubhouse. And I'm like, yo, this is the future. Like, then I got her on Clubhouse, and then she was hooked too. And yeah, we've just been here ever since. We've been stuck.
That's amazing.
And I guess we'll get into how it ties into forbidden fruit, but it was kind of like, it was everything just aligned divinely. So yeah, really grateful for those individuals for stewarding the experience and making us feel comfortable. Because I was a collector at first. Like, I was just getting to know people, liking people. And then like I had invested in Ethereum like the end of 2020. And then I saw all these people's like dope work. So I was just supporting, collecting where I could, because I had no use for my crypto. And then I was posting my art, and then people were like, yo, when are you going to start posting your art and minting it? And then it's been up ever since. So
that's
yeah.
amazing. I love the backdrop. Andre O'Shea, definitely another amazing digital artist, another amazing artist in his own right. And yeah, you know, that Clubhouse class of 2021 was definitely something special. As you know, there was the whole kind of COVID thing happening, so everyone's hunkered down, and then the technology was just genuinely mind-blowing for those of us who really kind of got hooked, right? And then seeing people have success, and like you, I'm still pretty much a collector. You know, I'm trying to put some more photography and things like that out there, but just from the space of being able to support people so easily through peer-to-peer and the global kind of community as well. Like, I was buying 3D masks from Kofi in Ghana and supporting people in different corners of the world, you know, and just seeing the way that that reverberates into their community is definitely been amazing. And yeah, hopefully we recapture some of that 2021 energy in the months and years to come, but maybe it was just a special time and place that you can't really duplicate. I don't know. So I did mention that we kind of connected at NFT NYC. I was just curious about your thoughts on that. Maybe we'll start, Crux, with you, because I know you performed there. What did you think about NFT NYC, and what was kind of the value that you kind of pulled out of it?
NFT NYC was cool. It's always, for me, the satellite events are always the best place, the best opportunity to really connect with folks, especially for artists who, you know, don't have a lot of money like to put out for a conference ticket. Those satellite events are really like you're in to being able to still connect with the individuals that are in the town, in the area for the conference. And it's always just perfect for like boosting your career in a way that you've now extended your network. You've now maybe had your art in a gallery or had a chance to perform. So these are like things that you can put on your resume and really like find your groove as an artist. Like, man, I want to continue doing this. I want to be able to do this in different states. I remember our first NFT NYC, we went on a run after that. We were like in Atlanta, we were in Art Basel in Miami, then we went to South by Southwest and NFT LA. I don't know how
pricey, You're hopping all over the place.
Yeah, for real.
ETH was like, almost at 4K, so it wasn't that bad.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it was good times, but it was awesome this year. I'm so grateful for that opportunity that I had to perform with Creatress and Eunice. I guess a little bit of background on that. Creatress is the artist when it comes to shooting your shot. She's always shooting her shot, and she's always looking to bring her community, her fellow creatives up with her when she's shooting those shots. So yeah, it was just known that I would be down to perform with her. So she applied to the conference and got accepted, then asked me if I would be available to join, and Eunice as well. So together, Creatress was doing VR. I was vocalizing and dancing, and Eunice was on the ones and twos DJing, and she also performed a song of her own at the end. So it was a really powerful coming together of three women in Web3 that have been doing great things and brought it to the IRL, which was amazing.
It was powerful. As I was there live and lucky enough to experience it, definitely was amazing. And that I think you shared that it was your first time kind of doing the lyrics live, you know, performing live on that front. You do a lot of dancing, but first time singing and rapping, right?
Yep, indeed.
Nice. That's amazing. That's amazing. And what about you, Stonez? What are your thoughts on NFT NYC and, you know, being able to connect with people in the real life, in the physical?
Yeah, very similar to Crux's sentiments as far as like the conference is great, and I think it's a signal to like bring people together. And whenever we can come together in the same city, there's so many opportunities that grow from that. Like this year, we had the opportunity to curate art at the World Trade Center, which was great, and able to provide a platform for almost 150 artists, which was like, yeah, it was great. We had a lot of messages of people saying that they had never had their work shown in New York. Some were about to give up. Some were like, it had never been curated before. And it was just like always good to have those types of messages to inspire you to keep moving forward. but yeah, I love seeing the homies from the URL, IRL. It gives me a special spark of energy and motivation to just like keep pushing forward and keep creating and doing the things. You know, and sometimes everybody loves coming to New York. So it's like you may see other homies like one off throughout the year or at other things or whatever, but you get to see like everybody at NFT NYC. So it's always a good time. I think we should pick another city that's a little less expensive, but yeah, it's always a good time.
It's a little wild, but I mean, Miami's still pretty pricey too. I like going down there for Art
At
Basel. At
least the weather is nice. We got poured on in New York this year.
That was brutal. The weather was brutal. Yeah, for sure. Getting caught in those rainstorms. Oh my gosh. I think I was down with something for like a week or two after as well. I was recovering. All good though. All good. I do want to give a shout out to anybody listening in the live stream. If you do have any questions at all, as always, please feel free to share any questions, thoughts, comments. We do give away free NFTs for thought-provoking comments as well. So a little incentive there. If you got any questions, feel free to chime in. So I want to turn things over to kind of the NFT projects and what you're working on. Before we get into the forbidden fruit, I know you've both kind of dropped NFTs this year, I believe. So maybe Stones, I'll turn it over to you first, because I was looking at this Caesar drop. It's very cool, very artistic music video, as well as the music itself is really dope. What's your vision for this, and how are you kind of navigating the minting of NFTs in 2024?
I think that may be the only NFT I've minted in 2024.
No
we've really been heads down trying to cultivate and build forbidden fruit, but I want to give a shout out to Optimism and the We Heart the Art contest, because that was one thing that, you know, how the market can be up, the market can be down, but it was one thing that I feel like motivated a lot of artists to get back on chain and to experiment and to do things that they haven't done before. So bring it back to Caesar. That was a video that had been sitting on for about a year and some change. I recorded the song a little bit ago. It was actually my Genesis on Sound XYZ, I believe. It was the first song I minted on Sound.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I had already had the music video done. And thank you for like doubling down on the artistic vision, because it was something that I spent a lot of time just like pondering and like, how can I include like dance? If you've like seen it, like Crux is in there and our friend Julia, and just kind of take it to the next level and like tell a story of like love and loss. And I think I accomplished that with the video. And yeah, I submitted it to We Heart the Art contest as under the music category, I believe. Didn't win, but got a lot of love for the video and just like the approach to it. So it's inspired me to like get back into creating music videos and putting them on chain and just doing all the things. But yeah, the mint itself on Sound XYZ sold out, so I was happy about that. And right now it's an open edition on Zora, so if people are drawn to it and still want to collect it, they can. And I think that people have a lot of high expectations for music and music videos in general, but the one thing I love about Web3 and blockchain is for like a smaller artist, if you hadn't had an opportunity to make a profit off of your music or music video, this is a way to at least get some type of funding back. And then you can take that and apply it into promotion for when you really want to drop it. Like, that's how I think about it.
No doubt.
So yeah, that's how I'm approaching this. And I haven't even put it on YouTube yet. And I think when I do that, I'm going to take some of these funds to do a promotional run with it. Seriously.
Yeah, push it a little bit more. No, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I definitely, the artistic vibe comes through. It's deep. It's got like layers to it for sure. I really, really appreciate it. And that's cool that you mentioned the We Heart the Art initiative by Optimism. Do you think that like these blockchains kind of taking that initiative to really encourage people to mint on their blockchain, obviously they have their reasons, they want more activity right on their chain, but on the flip side, if they're doing it with the right intentions and they're really able to promote, like you said, people saw your music video that maybe would not have seen it otherwise, how important do you think that kind of outreach is, whether it's from blockchains or from marketplaces kind of doing that initiative to really highlight artists in the space?
I think it's super important. I think too often than not, we forget that creators made blockchain and Web3 cool, right? Like people have been investing in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum since it existed, but the energy, the excitement, it didn't start until NFTs popped off. Beeple made his sale. Like there were people minting NFTs and doing their thing. Beeple made his sale, then the floodgates opened. And then it was like, whoa, like we have a lot more activity, energy, like people pushing the things to be more creative. And a dev can only be as creative as a dev can be. But once a dev hooks up with an artist, or there's something that an artist wants to achieve, it's like, wow, like all of this, like
Magic.
beautiful things are developed. Yeah, it's literally magic. That's the best way to put it. So I think it's super important. And when artist-led initiatives happen, more innovation happens within the space. And because artists are also some of the best beta testers you can have, because we're going to try to break it from a different point of view. It's not going to be a technical point of view. It's going to be something that we're going to try to include as many people, have it unlock this, have it touch that, do all these types of things. And then it's a challenge. And then we end up creating tools that are usable and really dope for everybody and just keeps the space moving forward. So I think it's super important that artists or blockchains continue to lead artist-led initiatives and including creators in the process. Super important.
100%. Love it. We're here for the art. That's a good clip right there. Let's turn it over to you, Thei. Crux, what do you got going on the blockchain, whether it's this year or anything you want to highlight? I saw this 222 video, which is pretty lit. I was watching it on here, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of navigating the NFT space and anything you got on the go that you want to share with us.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Stonez about We Heart the Art, the contest being a very pivotal, energetic offering for artists, an opportunity for artists in Web3, because I had not minted in so long before that contest happened. And I didn't even get to apply to it, actually, but just seeing all of the friends, the homies apply and seeing how much buzz it was getting and how many applicants they received was just really amazing. And it felt like old times again. Like it felt like, oh, Web3 is popping again. Like, because for like a year, everybody was just like, everything was weird. It was just like a big question mark. And you saw a lot of people go, you saw a lot of people come. And now it's just like, okay, maybe we have what we had once before back again and in a new and improved way. So for myself, I think the last time, well, what I minted this year was actually for a foundation dance world. So that's another thing. Like, we didn't have some of these tools back in the day. A lot of these tools are new and they're providing new opportunity, new access points for artists to enter through, which I think is super cool. A lot of the things that we used to dream about are now actually real. So the foundation world, it was one that was specific for dancers, actually two, but this one this year was by Art Formans, and I got to host a Twitter space for them, and it was a really big drop. They do things for dance in Web3 IRL, and they fuse both, bring them together, which is so dope. So there was a bunch of dancers that submitted work to that foundation world, and that was kind of my like re-emergence into minting. Since then, what else have I minted? I think the only other thing this year so far for me is a photo from the performance with Creatress and Eunice. So trying to figure that out, that's definitely a big question mark currently, is like, how can you bring live performances onto the blockchain? There's different ways that people have done it. Like, you can mint a clip, you can mint a picture. One thing that's interesting that we talked about is some DJs are minting their full DJ set. But it's like, how are you doing that when you don't have the rights to the music that you're spinning?
Right, yeah, it gets a little gray area, a little murky.
Yeah, for sure. So just trying to get creative with fusing IRL onto the blockchain, because I'm doing a lot in person. Like, I'm in dance rehearsal from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day.
Wow.
So it's like, how can I take my IRL activity, like what I literally do on my day-to-day, and make that something that can be put on the blockchain? And I think it's as simple as that, like exactly what I just said. But it's easy to get in your head about things when you're minting and you know it's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to having fun with it these days.
No doubt. And you want that kind of finished product, right? You don't necessarily want all your rehearsals on the blockchain. I mean, you could. There's no one saying you can't do that, but totally, your call. And then there's something to be said about the scarcity, right? And how limited you want the mint to be and all that kind of. I am looking at the video for 222. I'm not sure if you want to share a little bit of the story behind that one. The visuals are beautiful, very, performance art, music, dancing. Do you want to share a little bit of the story behind that 222?
Sure. Yeah, 222. This I recorded this song when Stones and I we were on a sprint. We were like always in the studio.
Nice.
So this is one of those tracks. I think it was February of 2022, and I was like, man, I just recorded this song 222. It was not intentional at all, but then we realized that it was going to be February 22nd of 2022, and we were like, nah, we have to record something to this.
Nice.
So we called our homie Josh Wong, who does a lot of video work for us, and he filmed. It was like we didn't even really plan anything. I just had access to this location in Philly, and we were just like, let's shoot something. And another thing about my process is I am involved in a lot of it. So I'll make the choreography, I'll perform it. Stones or somebody else will shoot it for me most of the time, and then I'll edit it. Sometimes I even do the sound production if it's like an instrumental beat. So that in itself makes it hard for me to put my stuff out because I'm so involved in all of the process that it can just take forever for me to get it done to a point where I'm satisfied. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much the story behind 222. It was just, I think it was actually my first music dance video NFT that I put on the blockchain. Shout out to Glass Protocol.
Let's
They were
go.
like, they were doing it big for video NFTs. And yeah,
Nice.
I was excited to be on the platform.
Amazing, amazing. I love the background. Thanks for sharing that. And you'd mentioned art formants and Foundation World. Is that connected to like Foundation, the marketplace? Or it's
Yeah,
different? Yeah.
that world is on Foundation, and it's by Art Formans. And then there was another world, another dance world on Foundation that was curated by Crypto Moves. So those are two like worlds that I'm pretty sure you can still access now, and you can see like a bunch of the dance and performance artists that have been minting on the blockchain for the last few years. There is a good amount of us. I know you said that you don't see
Yeah,
much
you
outside.
guys have proved me wrong already. You've been talking about other other dancers. I'd love to see more, and even art formants and crypto moves. This is all news to me, so clearly I'm just out of the loop.
Nah, it's cool. It's tough. We try to break through a very big barrier. I don't know what it is, but when it comes to dance, like people just don't really receive it. So been trying to figure out how to like word it or like promote it and advertise it in a way where it kind of breaks through that feels like we're screaming into the black a lot of the time. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough, but
interesting because it's so visual too. So it would be kind of
yeah.
natural. You would think it would be more in demand, but I hear what you're saying. It's yeah, I think the art and the meme coins and the PFPs and all that, and then even music, and then it looks like dance almost looks like a subgenre of music, kind of to some people maybe.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
it's very interesting, and I love it. 222. I'm a big fan of the numerology as well. So thanks for
Yeah.
sharing again. So let's take a look at Forbidden Fruit and the concept of what you're building out here, right? You're saying it's immersive experiences for art lovers. You got art, events, wellness. I don't know which one wants to take the first stab at it, Stones or Crux. Break down what you're working on. She's pointing at you, Stones.
Well, Forbidden Fruit was actually Crix's idea. It's interesting. Like when we met, we were both kind of already on our paths and linked up, and everything just like solidified what we were doing as like our mission as like human beings. So yeah, Crux had already had the idea of Forbidden Fruit, and I was already doing events and parties and like art stuff just like on campus. And it kind of, we started in 2019, like officially doing events together. That was our first event together. And as the company grew, as the world shifted, we realized how important like blockchain would be to influence like what we're doing. We really noticed that there was a lack of like holistic spaces for artists and just holistic spaces in general for people to like really truly be themselves. And it was 2020, 2021. I'll just be, I always forget the first age of Aquarius. When?
2020 going into 2021.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So we had threw a virtual New Year's Eve art party in response to the pandemic. You know, nobody was linking up, but we were like, wow, like how could we create an environment where people could still have a good time, still see art, enjoy art, not have to just like watch the ball drop? Go ahead.
Yeah, and we rolled with the punches on that one because Age of Aquarius was your idea, and we were gonna do it in person. That was the idea, and then the pandemic happened, and we were like, "No, we're still gonna do it though."
Yeah. So we were like, we're still gonna do it. We're not gonna give up. So it actually, taking that step back and it being virtual allowed us to do a lot more than we would have done if it was in person. So we got on Instagram. We were like just like scouring the internet trying to find dope artists to submit to our program.
Nice.
So we were able to like put people's music videos on, curate an art gallery. Like this was like before we knew what a crypto voxels was. Like
No
this
doubt.
was like our gallery was on YouTube, bro. Like it was different.
So
it
you
was
were
dope.
going digital even before like the full
Yeah,
metaverse
exactly.
kind of immersion, right?
And then it was like, all right, we did this thing, we made money, so we wanted to pay people. We had over like 50 artists involved, and like I forgot how many performers we had, but we were like, all right, we gotta pay people. So went to go to pay folks, had an artist in Africa. We could not get him his money. We were like, yo, like what? And like he don't have Cash App, he doesn't have. We had an artist in the UK, they didn't have Venmo. Like it was just like all these things, like all these hurdles. And we were like, wow, like this is like kind of ridiculous. Like, how do people do this? You know, and now we saw like why people didn't do it, you know, in that same vein. It was like, oh, this is so difficult.
Finding
then,
out the hard way.
Right. And then Web3 happens. And then like you start collaborating with artists from all over the world. And you're like, yo, just send me your wallet address. And it's like, bang, instantly. Like,
Boom, boom.
you got your ETH. Like, you sent me a file. I did what I did on the file. I'm going to mint it this time. You're going to mint it next time, whatever. Here's your ETH. And they were like, wow, this just makes way more sense. And then we've just started introducing and playing around with different blockchain tools ever since, and grew the company. In 2022, I think we threw our first large event at NFT NYC movement, which was actually a dance showcase for Web3 movers and artists. So we curated a gallery for that.
Nice.
Had an event in Chelsea, New York. It was very, very, very dope. It was just good to see so many people come together and respect not only blockchain, but really respect dance in that environment. And it was really cool. And after that, we just didn't stop. We just kept the ball rolling. We had our own gallery space. We were throwing open mics and different types of engaging events like wellness circles, open sites where people would come dance, and then would take more serious events and fuse blockchain technology with that. So I don't know if you want to pick up from there, Crux, but yeah.
Amazing. I love that it predates the blockchain and predates kind of the NFT idea. So yeah, Crux, share your thoughts. Where are we going with Forbidden Fruit?
Yeah, I mean, Stones, you hit a bunch of everything, really. I guess now where we are, like we officially established in 2022. So since then, we've been in this like startup phase. So really just trying to get the company to a secure place financially. And then outside of that, just building our different products and services that we want to offer to artists and art lovers, or even to companies or folks that aren't art centered, but kind of want to figure out how to be more creative or how to infuse wellness into their lives. So right now we are more so hosting virtual events. We don't have an IRL venue anymore, which has been cool though. We had a really cool space this week on Abundance Mindset. And we just realized that when that venue door closed, it kind of opened a new door for us to be able to take the company on the go. So being able to do things like curate in NYC at the World Trade Center, like we don't need a venue. Like we're doing all of these amazing things and we don't have to pay rent every month. So that's been
amazing.
cool. And just really taking advantage of the virtual aspect of things, like being able to reach people all over the world with the click of a button, with the touch of a screen. So we host weekly virtual roundtables or Twitter spaces. We say both just to reach all demographics. People don't really know what a Twitter space is.
The virtual roundtable, I like it.
Yep. So every Wednesday we host Brain Food, which is our new multimedia blog series. So what we mean by multimedia is that it can be read on our website or it can be listened to during the Twitter spaces, and people can even join in the discussion, ask questions, share thoughts, because people learn differently. So our goal with that is to create more positive content, more positive videos and conversations on the internet for artists and art lovers, because it's so easy to get caught up in like negative sides of the internet or parts of the internet that don't really fuel your greatest good. So yep,
Yeah, that's for sure.
that's every Wednesday.
Putting it lightly.
What was that?
I said that's putting it lightly. You know, I feel like the internet can distract you to, you know, negative things fairly quickly, unfortunately. Especially these days, everyone's looking for the culture war or something. I love it. So when looking at kind of that side of the NFT space and talking about wellness and hosting these spaces, how do you feel that kind of contrasts with some of what might be like the big narrative of NFTs, you know, like get rich quick, put your stuff on the blockchain and, you know, you'll go to the moon and all this. And to your point, you know, like, do you think that some of that kind of overhype and over focus on the actual monetary benefits is kind of self-defeating? Is it like, is there a reason you choose to focus on wellness while still pushing the technology? And how do you think it's differs from kind of the main narrative that's out there? Crux.
Yeah, I mean, we just see so much inherent value in the technology itself. It literally is the key to an artist's autonomy. Like, I'm able to mint my work on the blockchain where people from all over the world can access it. Whereas before, maybe I have to use like an Etsy shop for people to buy my stuff. But now it's like direct to consumer. I don't have to use a middleman or a third party to get my stuff seen. I mean, yeah, no, I'll leave that there. And then I think like when it comes to the overhype and the focus on money and getting rich, like that's just never been our thing. We are just such trusters in abundance and divine alignment with the universe that we focus on how you can align yourself, like work on yourself first to get yourself to a point where natural abundance is just flowing to you. And I think that that's been true for us in Web3. Like our homie introduced us to it, Andre Oshoi introduced us to it, and then everything from there just flowed organically. Stonez has sold out a collection of spectrums. He could talk more about that, but that like blew my mind. I was just like, like
I'd love
what?
to hear more about that.
You know? Yeah. So I think that the tools, there's not enough focus on them. So artists don't know how to use them. So that's where we try to, you know, test and break things and see how things work so that we can bring the meat and potatoes of that information to the artist and they don't have to deal with things like Bored Apes and, you know, whatever PFP is trying to just come up quick.
Right.
Yeah, I'll pass the mic to Stonez.
I dig it. What are your thoughts, Stonez?
Yeah, I think that the hype is easy to fall subject to, but like Crux said, it's also just as easy to like find a hub of people who are already like moving in positive or in that abundance mindset and align with them. So that's why we try to be that source or that place for that, where people don't have to stress about all the other oohs and ahs and can kind of just focus on their art and know that there will be an opportunity for them to progress with their art or an opportunity to show their art and then not be no extra strings attached to it. But yeah, I definitely think that it takes some self-work to get to that point too, because everybody enters the space for different reasons. And of course, finances is a part of it. Like we all are here because the traditional art world or the way that things were set up before were not akin to allowing an artist to thrive. You know, you had to be a bigger named artist or do, you know, X, Y, and Z to get to some sort of status. But here in Web3, there are different opportunities to put your art out there and profit from it. Besides just posting it on Instagram, you know, like, or having to sell posters, which also takes some type of upkeep or like overhead or whatever. It's like a very low overhead to get involved in this space. Right. And I think that, you know, as you align with yourself or you focus on something and create something that is really true to you, people just end up resonating with it. And I guess we can bring that to Spectrum. So I created a collection. It was more of a study of like art, of visuals, light, and sound. And it was like, how can I take something that's really cool to me and expand upon it? So I made a collection of 333 pieces. This was end of 2021, like right before 2022.
Nice.
And sold out on the homepage of OpenSea. And it was like all the pieces, like they were selling as soon as I would mint them. And it was just a really cool experience to see how many people resonated with the art, because I really cared about that project. So I think it's like you double down on something you care about, you're able to tell your story, and then you release it to the world. This is really a cool community for that to happen and for it to make sense. So yeah. That's that.
And Stonez at that time, he was hand minting the pieces. There was no
through Manifold or right on OpenSea.
There was no Manifold yet.
Oh,
the
snap.
Manifold came out like later in 2022. They were only doing like projects with like Mad Dog Jones or like Steve Aoki and stuff.
You had to get the approval.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't even know who they were. So I was hand minting everything on OpenSea. Of course, there were some bugs and some glitches. I fat fingered a couple things, but even through that, I was able to like build deeper connections with collectors and like handle stuff. Like they were like, "Whoa, you're actually about to send me my ETH back?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. Like I've been up for like a week straight. Like there was an accident. Like yeah, bro. Like so it was cool. It was a really good experience."
Nice. That's amazing. Well, I'm sad that I missed that one, I think, but I do have one of your pieces going back to the long necky ladies. Tiffany and Fuchsia is one of the pieces I got by Stonez, and I love looking at it. I love the color and the vibe, and I also am a big fan of the long necky ladies, of course. I'd love to just hear your thoughts on that, because I believe you told me when we were at NFT NYC that you actually used the proceeds from selling these art pieces to help your community, I believe, or some school kids. So I'd love to hear a little bit of a story on that, and I just wanted to highlight the piece of art because it was a really cool, how they call it, derivative, right, of the long necky lady collection. So would love to just hear kind of what you did with that art collection and anything you want to share about it.
Yeah, first off, shout out to Nyla.
Yeah, shout out Nyla Hayes.
Amazing artist. She's based in Philadelphia too, I believe. So shout out to Philly. Always doing it big. But also shout out to Nyla for making the project, be able to make derivatives. Not every PFP project allows you to make derivatives. So once she made that announcement, I was like, all right, cool. Let me start making some derivatives. And then I collaborated with Andre on a few derivatives, like where I would make the art and then he would make like a cool scene for it. And then I was like making my own and all that type of stuff. And as it hit me, I'm like, yo, it's like, I think it was like July or August. I'm like, it would be cool. Like these derivatives are doing well. Nyla's also like, she was like younger at the age. And I'm just like, it would be cool to connect the two and like do a backpack drive. So I called it Project 100, and I was able to fill 100 backpacks with school supplies for children in the Philadelphia and like South Jersey area. And it was really dope because once I made this announcement, I had people match my donations. So like whatever I made off of the project, I think it was Gabe Weiss, Taylor, and I felt like there was one other person. I would have to check the tweets, and forgive me if you're watching this and then you're like, Stonez forgot me. But I think it was Nyla too. I think Nyla matched the donations as well. Sick. And I'm so grateful for Gabe because I had a call with him at the time. I'm like, bro, I was about to just do this thing, and now like the money tripled. Like, what am I supposed to do? He was like, bro, keep it to 100 backpacks. Because then if you go over 100, you're going to be stuck with all these backpacks. Like, what are you going to do? So I was able to just make the backpacks really cool and just like put a lot of cool supplies in it, like pencil cases, like color pencils, notebooks, like all that type of thing. And shout out to that lady at Staples. We took a picture with her. I forgot her name, but she was super kind in helping us like break down everything at the register and making sure all the numbers were right and like giving us coupons and all that. It was really cool. Nice. But yeah, that was a very
community too, because the people that we collaborated for Age of Aquarius with, you were able to do the backpack or fill up the backpacks at their venue, and then I was busy that day, so shout out to all of our friends that went to help Stonez fill up the backpacks. It was like you had your own little assembly line. We
had to set up assembly line vibes. It was really cool. It was a really good time. And yeah, we've been talking about how we can bring that back and execute it. But yeah, that in itself was really great. And it really showed the example of like everybody was just making money back then, but it's like, what do you do with the profit? Like what do you do to actually feed your community or give back to the individuals around you? And it was cool because I was able to partner with a YMCA in distributing some of the backpacks, a local organization like Kensington to give them some of the backpacks, then like deliver them some myself. It was really good. It was a really good experience.
That's amazing, man. Amazing. That's what we love to hear, you know, how those blockchain transactions kind of spread out into the community and actually make a real impact for people who may be none the wiser that it had anything to do with blockchain, right? But that's what it's all about, sending those kind of reverberations through society, right? I'm curious on the forbidden fruit piece. Do you have a space in the metaverse when talking about immersive experiences? Are you looking to kind of take that route as far as like having kind of regular meetups in the metaverse, or taking it really like into that digital space from that perspective? Crux?
Can we tell them, Stones? Can we?
Oh, am I getting some alpha?
Yeah, sure. You could definitely tell them. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I won't say much, but we are working on a metaverse space.
Nice.
So
Let's go.
yeah, definitely. Like, we see the value in a virtual venue. And I think even just that tagline in itself, like virtual venue, is so cool and can literally make so much more possible. Like what we were saying earlier about having to buy posters and the overhead that comes in with that, like setting up physical galleries or physical exhibitions and having to put up all the pieces of artwork and, you know, having to take them down. So imagine how much more efficient things could become if there was like a virtual aspect. So that's what we're working on.
Amazing.
That's all I have. Stones, if you want to add anything else, feel free.
No, I think that was cool. Like, you hit it on the head. I would say we have been collaborating with Block Party, which is a platform to do a monthly space called Hidden Gems. We hadn't run one in a while, but that really helped spark the idea of us owning our own gallery. Because we would meet up monthly, and Cat Russell, shout out Cat Russell, a great collaborator and friend of ours. We would use his crypto voxels to show art from artists that the concept of Hidden Gems is your favorite artist's favorite artist. So we would click artists to curate art from their collections that they thought was dope, and then talk about those monthly. And before that, when we were doing our Link Up event series, we would actually take the Link Up. So it would be live performances from like Web3 artists, like from out of Philly. We would invite them to come to the city, and then we would have some of our favorite artists that we've become friends with through like our open mics also perform, and then we would stream that into the metaverse. So it was really cool to see like people's reactions, like, wait, I'm performing here, but it's in there too. Like, wait, what's going on? Like, so that was always really dope. So yeah, now we want to like move forward and owning our own space and being consistent with not just like those one-off events, but like weekly. Hey, just meet us here. We're vibing over here. So yeah,
connect in the metaverse. You know, I can say from our perspective, it is a little bit difficult. You got to find a lot of people that really enjoy hanging out in the metaverse to be consistently kind of showing up there, but also just creating the content and being live in the metaverse is huge, right? Are you leaning towards voxels or spatial or Decentraland still, if I can glean any more information out of you?
Well, I think we were thinking on Cyber.
Nice.
Yeah.
On Cyber is cool for the galleries. You get those kind of pre-made, really nice looking galleries, right?
Yeah, super dope. Spatial, I love Spatial. They're like, aren't they like more like games now, like gaming center? But I love Spatial. I think Spatial is really cool.
Yeah, they have been leaning into the games a bit more, I think, because they're realizing just, you know, kind of playing up the NFT gallery space alone is not enough. And they do have some pretty cool games, and I think they allow developers to really take a kind of custom approach to building out their own kind of games. Shout out to Z Creative we had on here. He's talking about the Coralverse, and he's created a whole kind of ocean conservation vibe in the spatial, or actually he's using Monaverse to build it out, but it's a still similar type of idea where they can really customize the space and build out their own kind of custom experience. So definitely cool. I want to give a shout out to K-Bot coming through with a comment in the chat on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Saying good morning, delicious innovators. You're the truth. Great start to Mental Health Awareness Month. And he's curious, do you do shows at colleges? Do you show up at colleges, or is there a kind of educational angle for Forbidden Fruit? Thanks, K-Bot. I'll throw that one to Stones.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, we haven't done it at colleges, but would love to if he has any connections or any way we could link up. Because we both have educator backgrounds,
Nice.
and you know, really do take pride in being able to like break down a lot of these more complex blockchain topics into like layman's terms and into knowledgeable bites that people can understand. So yeah, we don't, but we would love to. We're open to the opportunity.
There you go. You heard it. I believe K-Bot's over on the West Coast. You guys are in Philly, so we'll see. Make the connections. That's what it's all about in Web3. We're all just a click away, right? That's amazing, though. And I love what you're saying about On Cyber. We do actually have we call it our gamer gallery for the Web3 Warriors NFT collection. You can go to web3warriors.io, and that's actually an On Cyber gallery, which has like a kind of nostalgic gamer vibe, and we have a whole bunch of our art that we've collected on the blockchain showing at that gallery. So that's at web3warriors.io. And that's another part of the podcast. Beyond the podcast, really, the Web3 Warriors brand is all about supporting artists, collecting art from artists in the community, the global NFT community, and showcasing it both at our space in Voxels, which you can find at web3warriors.tez.page. And yes, that is a Tez domain from Tezos, but it's cool because they allow you to redirect. So I was able to use that to redirect into the metaverse. So just some cool angles. But I think the metaverse as a conversation is still kind of evolving, right? And we've seen actual, Meta that changed their whole name because they were trying to take over this whole conversation. They kind of stepped back because I guess it didn't evolve kind of the way that they thought it would. Crux, I'm curious, how do you feel about that conversation around the evolution of the metaverse, and what's kind of a use case that you're most excited about? And shout out K-Bot hanging out with me in the metaverse here. I see you. What do you think, Crux?
Yeah, you see me shaking my head. I'm like, the meta thing, like I feel like the meta thing took a toll on mass adoption of the metaverse, because anytime, I was working at Mona for a year and a half, and anytime that I was trying to explain to people what I was doing, what my job was, what the company was, they confused or thought that the metaverse was synonymous with meta. Like their mind immediately went to meta, and I had to explain.
That was what Zuckerberg was going for, right? He had the desired effect,
Oh my goodness. I was like, no, those are two different things. Meta was Facebook, but the metaverse is a virtual world, a place where you can connect with people from all over the globe in a virtual setting. Like you could have digital twin replicas of like physical buildings. It's a place where architects and 3D builders can create without, like we said before, the overhead of having to use physical tools or physical materials. So it's just a really cool and creative way to build environments in the digital realm that artists can benefit from. You can perform in the metaverse. You can build venues or exhibitions, galleries. You can have concerts. You can have discussions. Like if you want to have a panel with people from all over the internet, all over the world on the internet, that is possible in the metaverse. And it doesn't have to be just like a Zoom call. It can be more immersive and more real, I guess. And I think, to me, one of the coolest use cases that I've seen of the metaverse, On Cyber had Not NFT, I believe it was called, Not NFT, like a conference in the metaverse. I think it was like 2 days long. They had so many panelists, so many speakers, so many different discussions. And it was amazing the amount of people that attended that, because I think that's the biggest challenge with the metaverse, is actually getting people in there. There's really innovative things being done, but then the event to like attendee ratio is just not there yet. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take, but they did a really good job at having a good turnout, having a plan that was engaging enough or exciting enough that people actually wanted to attend. And that is like the one thing that I refer back to whenever I'm like planning something that may or may not have a metaverse aspect to it. It's like, how did they do it? That
awesome.
is Yeah.
That's why being involved with those events is good, though, right? Because it shows you kind of best practices. And when I look at On Cyber and what they've been able to do, one thing is they were definitely early to the out of the box NFT gallery conversation, right? Like basically in those initial like early days of 2021, I remember hearing On Cyber really kind of playing up the NFT gallery angle and just how easy it was. Like I remember my first like 10 NFTs that I collected, I jumped into On Cyber and I was able to pull everything right into the gallery there, and it was just so simple. And I was like, yes, already I can show off my art in the metaverse, you know? So I think that they were so early and they did a good job of kind of being in those clubhouse rooms, talking to the people that were really kind of engaged and excited about it. That's likely how they were able to pull those kind of numbers, right? But to your point, I think, like you say, it's kind of just slow and steady, right? The metaverse is growing. It's the clear use cases there. I didn't know that you'd worked in Mona, so that's really cool. You have that kind of experience kind of on the front lines. So you would say it's just kind of slow and steady. We're getting there in due time kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I think that just the language that is used when describing the metaverse or the things that are happening in there needs to be figured out. And also accessibility. Like not everybody has a super strong computer that can take what the metaverse puts out.
And that's what Voxels is nice for, right? Voxels, at least you can jump in on your phone. It's real simple.
Exactly. Definitely.
Stones, your thoughts on evolution of the metaverse? As I know we're heading into our last 10 minutes here, so I know you're tight for time. What are your thoughts on the metaverse and its evolution right now?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to take more time, but I honestly think it's going to be like a Ready Player Me world, you know, maybe not our generation, but the next generation.
That's the vision.
Yeah, where people are just going to be used to linking up in the metaverse and in these like digital environments and playgrounds. People already do it, but it's also you have to give people a good enough reason to. And I think, like Ty said, the Not NFT conference that was put on, it gave people a reason to. Like you even said it. It's like hard to do it like on a daily basis, but like if you give people a good enough reason or like activation that is different or enticing, or you're giving something away, I think it will definitely encourage more people to experiment and explore, and then they'll see the benefit of it. But yeah, it just takes time. It just takes time. And then also, like Crux hit the nail on the head. A lot of these things are not accessible, like from the tech standpoint. Like not everybody has like the best Mac or a PC that can handle some of these things. So they might get in, it might slow their computer down. They're like, I don't want to deal with this. So as the tech becomes more friendly, as people develop mobile apps for it, I think that'll definitely be enticing. I think that's one cool thing about On Cyber is that like, you can hop on it from your phone, you know, like you could walk around from your phone. And that's one thing that we've thought about is like, it's cool to have like the biggest, coolest, dopest, all these things. But like, if I'm introducing this to a person that has not had an interaction with the metaverse, I don't want to overstimulate them, right? I want to give them something where they can be like entertained, but not also like overwhelmed. So it's like, how can you create an environment where people are like, oh, yo, this is cool, this is dope, and it's not like, oh wait, what is going on here? You guys are going crazy. So you got to find that balance, you know. But yeah, I think as things develop, like people will get it and they'll understand, and they'll be, you know, hyped to spin up their own environments and hang out with friends and all that type of stuff. Because it's a vibe. And also, I just checked out the Web3 Warriors on Cyber. It was really cool. I like that. That seems like a chill hangout spot. Yeah, it is super chill. And I'd love to, like you said, like get kind of actual hangout time and like reason to hang out there and check out the art. And what other thing is cool about it, right, is any NFT that's on the wall that happens to be listed, people can actually engage with it, go there and buy it, right? So it's like it actually has a real marketing impact as well, which I think is still kind of being slept on. So I'm hoping that as the metaverse evolves and more people are kind of seeing the value in that digital space and that digital experience, that it grows in that direction. To your point about Ready Player Me, you know, or Ready Player One, that is the vision, but at the same time, we want to not have the whole dystopian side of real world, right? That led to that vision, you know, made everyone run into the digital world. So that's kind of no comment on that, bro. I think, no comment. Hopefully not. Hopefully we don't get there.
Appreciate it, man. I really, really love this conversation. I do want to get your thoughts on specifically music NFTs and kind of the evolution of the space before we wind up here. So Stones, maybe I'll throw it to you first. You got your Caesar music video that you dropped earlier this year, and I'm sure you're very much kind of in touch with a lot of musicians in the space and looking at kind of the music NFTs industry as it evolves. How are you feeling about it? Is there a marketplace or a use case that you're like really excited about that you see, you know, kind of working really well? And how are you navigating that kind of conversation, music NFTs?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. One thing, so like the premise of music NFTs when I entered the space was like to get closer with your fan base, right? Like to provide exclusive opportunities and things to give your fans maybe an insight, some unreleased music or whatever. And there's like the common misconception of people don't trust NFTs, but then you see the music industry still adopting some of those use cases and tactics that we were very excited about, and understand that blockchain technology just makes it easy and seamless. So I think that it's going to take some time. And then I also think that people are going to build things that are going to become so frictionless that people don't even understand or know that they're interacting with blockchain. And they just got to take like the word NFT out of it, you know, and then or whatever, and still be able to build those experiences. But I'm all for like being able to create something and then like the NFT or the blockchain be able to validate your participation or your support. And then as that adds up, as that racks up, you're able to be rewarded as an artist or rewarded as a fan, you know, like on both
100%.
sides of the ball. Yeah. So I think that I don't know who's built that thing yet, but I'm just always like laughing at the fact that someone like James Blake will do a drop and then like he had just did a drop that was similar and then people had an uproar or whatever. But I'm just like, you can't be mad at the artist for wanting to experiment.
Yeah.
But the fan base has to catch up and understand that we're doing this stuff not only for ourselves, but for you. Like we want to create a different experience for you that is different from the last, 100 years of the music industry. So I think it's definitely on the fan basis to just like open up their minds and not be as quick to pull out the pitchforks as soon as they don't understand something.
No doubt. No doubt.
The thing about music is people aren't used to like paying for music. It's like you have your monthly Spotify subscription, but like once that hits your bank account, you're not really thinking about it again. And you're not thinking about like, oh, I could listen to as much music as I want. And it really doesn't change the effect of like my Spotify payment or whatever. But it's like, as you get into collecting, I think people kind of like are a little more hesitant or have like this wall built up because it's like, it's music, it's supposed to be free, like whatever. But no, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into this craft, just like any other craft. So as artists, fan bases are able to like open up their mind and want to support in these ways, I think things will become smoother and more development and advancement will happen. But yeah, shout out to all the music platforms that are doing something, because it's a risk, but they're also being able to give us a platform to innovate and experiment on our own. So it's really dope.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think you hit on a lot of important points there. And looking at the creator side of it, how much do you think it's important from a data perspective as well, right? Like when you talk about rewarding your collectors, to your point, a lot of people can just get music for free and they can even listen to the stuff you've minted usually for free as well, right? They don't have to actually hit the mint button. So it's having that collector base of people that love what you do, value what you do, and want to support you financially, clicking the mint button, and now you're got a growing database of that level of kind of commitment, right? That level of support from your fan base. How do you then turn around and kind of view that data? And is it incumbent upon you to kind of reward those people in some way, or do you feel like it's just good to have from a kind of snapshot perspective, like knowing how many supporters you have on this blockchain or that blockchain? How do you feel about that kind of data side of it from the creator perspective?
I think data is super important for creators. I think all successful artists and creators take their data and know how to work it right into their favor. I think a lot of artists that do well could be doing a lot better if they were able to take their data and flip it and market it and do whatever it is and have those serious conversations when it comes to a platform or distributor or anything like that. That's just like on the creator side and career path. On the flip side is like rewarding your collectors. I think it's super dope to have like, oh, if you're my top creator or my top collector, like I can reward you with something. I'm a big fan of IRL experiences, but then it just gets so logistical with like,
yeah, event planning is real, right?
Yeah, and blockchain and people being like, my biggest supporter could be in China, and I could have this idea of wanting to fly somebody out, and they're like, whoa, wait, hold up, I gotta get a ticket from China now. Wait, you done took my budget, bro. Like now I can't even feed you or do nothing, bro. We just gonna be talking in my living room. Like, oh no, but I think
that's when you say cover the flight up to this amount of money.
Right. Nah, seriously. But yeah, I think that you're able to like directly engage with it's like Ty said, it's direct to consumer now. If I'm streaming a Latasha record day in and day out on Spotify, there's no data to support or show Latasha that I'm one of her top fans until maybe the end of the year where Spotify gives out its Wrapped. But at that point, it's too late. Like, like Latasha's already made plans for the next year. She's not thinking about me. So it's like, so it's like having that data and it being on chain definitely validates a lot of the experiences and how much people actually, put value into what you're doing. So yeah, I'm all in support of that 100%. And being able to use it and move forward with your career and experiences for your collectors.
Amazing. And shout out Latasha doing big things in the music space and the Zora space. Always inspiring to see. Crux, love to hear your thoughts on music NFTs and how you see things evolving and how you're navigating the space.
Yeah. What comes to mind for me is I think the coolest thing about musicians that are making music NFTs that are in Web3, it's like you get to meet artists that you would have never thought you could have ever met before. And I just think that's so cool. Like, for example, Stone's aunt listens on Spotify every day to By Hayes. And we know By Hayes now because By Hayes is in Web3. So that's just.
I was at her house one day. I was like, yo, I know that person. Like, yo, that's crazy. I was like, yo, that is crazy.
That is awesome.
Yes. So that to me is just like literally reach. It just makes things seem more possible because I feel like some of these platforms make like artists feel untouchable or like, that you can't reach a certain artist, but Web3 literally like dilutes that bridge. It softens that barrier and it makes like connecting with people more possible. I am a big fan of Mick Jenkins. I've always loved Mick Jenkins, and we got to meet Mick Jenkins and we got to talk to him on the Twitter Spaces, and it's just like, nice. What is life? Like it changes your perspective on things, and it makes you feel like you can achieve some of the dreams that maybe you didn't think were possible before. And it shows you that all it really takes a lot of the times is like tools, resources, and connections to the right people.
100%.
What I would love to see in terms of music NFTs is like, I don't know if it already exists, but an app, like a mobile app, similar to a Spotify or an Apple Music that is Web3 native. Like how can we make that possible? How can people mint NFTs onto a mobile app and people can stream it and people can watch the video or people can follow the creator and stay tuned in their fan base of what they have going on, what they're dropping, exclusive perks, exclusive drops. I just think that mobile aspect will really make it a lot more accessible. Because there's just, like Stone said, there's fear of NFTs. There's, and rightfully so, there's people getting hacked. There's people losing their profits, their earnings, and it can be a scary place. But I feel like with more accessibility, it will bring different people to the scene that maybe wouldn't have joined if it was only desktop before.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think Audius at one point, I don't know if they're still running their app. I think they did try it, but I've heard some criticisms as far as the creator side of it or the musician side of it and how the splits are handled and getting your money off of there and things like that, which I think becomes a problem with a lot of these marketplaces as they have this kind of custodial side and how decentralized are they, how direct peer-to-peer is your support and all that important questions. And do you think it's similar kind of looking at the dance space and looking at the performance art side of things, Crux? Like as that evolves, it sounds like you've already educated me about communities and groups that are out there kind of pushing that narrative in Web3 as well. Do you have anything you're really excited about that you see on the horizon on that front?
I think getting different parts of the performing arts / dance process onto the blockchain in really unique ways is going to continue to be a big draw for viewers, for collectors. An amazing example of a duo that is doing a stellar job at this is Operator. They usually they literally code their choreography. So like the choreography that they create, they turn it into code and they mint really cool final products of that process onto the blockchain. So I definitely recommend checking them out. And yeah, I think we just have to literally, like, dancers to me are some of the most creative people in the world. And the more that we can show how creative dancers are, the more people will be like, these people are insane. Like you're making your music, you're making your choreography, you're filming yourself. Like, how are you doing all of this? Because dancers have to make do with like little resources and little funding. It's a very underfunded industry. So the things that dancers are able to create in those circumstances are like beyond imagination.
Amazing. And Web3 can change that, right? So with that, I would like your permission, Stones, to play this Caesar music video before we ride out here. Does that sound good for the people?
Yes.
For the recording?
Yes, please.
All right, appreciate it. Let's get this going, and thank you again.
Also, David, thank you so much for this. It's amazing how consistent you are with Web3 Warriors. I'm like, we're episode 99. That's crazy. So congrats to you on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're plugging away here. Next week, we're going to be talking about art on the blockchain from a really kind of high level perspective with NFTP, who's local here in Manitoba and a big name in the space, taking it from kind of that indigenous art perspective, and also talking to Marco Santini, who's he's a New York based artist, kind of comes from more of the traditional space. Friends with Beeple apparently, and we'll be talking about kind of the art on the blockchain as a grand kind of industry and how we see things evolving and where things have been and where they're going. So appreciate that shout out, and really excited for episode 100. Let's turn it over to Caesar here. We'll say a couple more words right after, and then we'll call it a day. But appreciate your time, everybody, and let's listen to this amazing track and see some beautiful performance art here. Let's go.
What you need, baby, slow down. I can match your speed, baby. Can you be my leading lady? Oh wow, we can change the scene, baby. What's the point of this life if you don't have a reason? Ducking my purpose, my fruit bloom this season. The road for the wolf and the fan will be eating. The roosters all right now, we in the 4 seasons. Right, I'm tired, just fight to Ibiza. Put ice on her neck, now she cold like a freezer. We mixing the potion, we playing with easy. I'm building a room and I feel like I'm Caesar. Will you ride with me? I need you by my side, baby. Will you ride with me? Yeah, been touching this money, no, it's not a phase. I'm stuck in a loop, I've been counting for days. I'm walking that path on a road that I paved. Applying the pressure, they feeling my rain. I talk to myself, I'm going insane. I look in your eyes and heal the pain. I'm grieving my dog, I bought me a chain. Yeah, been touching this money, no, it's not a phase. I'm stuck in a loop, I've been counting for days. I'm walking that path on a road that I paved. Applying the pressure, they feeling my rain. I talk to myself, I'm going insane. I look in your eyes and heal the pain. I'm grieving my dog, I bought me a chain. Will you, baby? I need you,
a vibe, man. And I, again, really, really love the art on it. It's next level. Thank you. Got you coming through live on the audio.
Yeah, thanks for playing the video.
I appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to play the video and really being able to kind of cap off the episode with this amazing performance art and the vibes, and really kind of speaks to everything I think we discussed on this episode. So with that, Stonez, do you have any final thoughts you want to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, just thank you for the opportunity again. I just want to get some shout outs. Shout out Crux for, you know, putting Forbidden Fruit together. Wouldn't be here without her. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting us. And big shout out to like All of Us Radio and that whole fam, because they helped out a lot with the NFT NYC opportunity. So them, Meta Betty's, Britt, Eddie, Lord, those are the homies, and everybody that just supports us consistently. Oh, DR, our boy DR Smart, that's my boy. Andre, I'm just shouting out the homies. So yeah, shout out everybody that supports us and loves us, shows up. Subscribe to that Forbidden Fruit newsletter too, because we've been putting a lot of creative opportunities together for artists. So if you're based in Philadelphia, we always got different event opportunities. And if you're just an artist in general, we curate a really good list of grant opportunities. So yeah, we're always looking out for artists and trying to provide an opportunity, whether it's to show art, to make some money, to connect with other artists. We just think that's important. So yeah, definitely subscribe to the Forbidden Fruit newsletter. And yeah, I'm gonna end it there, you know.
Appreciate it. Crux, any final thoughts before we wrap up here? Really impressed by what you're doing with Forbidden Fruit. I love the performance art, love the dance, love the music. Any thoughts before we wrap up here?
Just gratitude. Thank you so much for having us. It was amazing to finally meet you IRL and NYC. Shout out to the homies, shout out to Stonez. And yeah, just I guess a final takeaway that would love to leave everybody with is, as we enter this month of May, just remember that you are enough.
Let's go. You are enough. I appreciate both of you. It's really amazing. Keep going with the wellness, with the art, with the immersion. I love it. Until next time, we'll catch you all in the metaverse. Take care. Peace out.